everyone. Welcome to the Leader's Edge, your path to personal and leadership growth. I'm your host, Steele, alongside my co-host and partner in leadership, Ernelita Dacumos. As certified speakers, coaches, and corporate facilitators, we're dedicated to bringing you powerful principles to fuel your leadership journey and personal growth journey. Now, whether you're an entrepreneur just starting out, a new leader taking the reins, or a seasoned pro looking to refine your skills, this show is for you. We'll be diving deep into personal growth strategies to help you strengthen your mindset and leadership abilities. But before we jump in, a huge shout out to all of our amazing listeners. Thank you so much for joining us each and every week. We wouldn't be here without your amazing support. Now, let's get down to business and help you unlock your full potential. Hey, Ernelita Dacumos, partner.
Good
How
morning.
are you?
I'm good, partner. Good morning, everyone. This is your co-host, Ernel. I feel like I'm in trouble because I've been called by my full name. This is your co-host, Ernie Dacumos. Partner, I noticed something and I had to bring this up.
Yeah.
It's our first time on the show that actually we're matching colors.
Oh my gosh, that is true.
I had to like look at the camera and say, "Hey, that's the same color as my shirt." How are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing really great, Ernie. It's been a wonderful week. A lot of great things have been happening. I've had a lot of good learnings in my life, if that makes any kind of sense. You know, a lot of really challenging things, but yet at the same time, I'm just being blessed with the fact that I have a greater understanding of a lot of things that I really didn't have before. So it's really been an amazing week, and I'm looking forward to the weeks to come. We got some amazing things happening.
Yes, I agree. And we have an amazing guest that I believe you're very fascinated with.
I am. I just absolutely love this guest.
Okay. I'll go ahead and introduce her then.
All right, go ahead.
Our beautiful guest this morning is a leadership and well-being coach, keynote speaker, and co-author of the anthology Leadership Unveiled: Women Leading with Impact. She is the founder of Nourish and Trade Collective, where she helps high-achieving professionals and organizations create success with soul through her signature framework, Rest to Rise. She also serves as a career coach for MBA students and alumni at the University of Arkansas Sam Walton College of Business, and mentors U.S. veterans through the University of Health Performance Integrative Health Coaching Program. A national board-certified health and wellness coach, Gallup certified strengths coach, and trauma-informed yoga teacher, she is known for blending emotional intelligence with strategic insight, helping leaders slow down to speed up, restore well-being, and lead with integrity and joy. Before founding her coaching practice, she spent more than 2 decades leading global logistics teams in the US and China with Maersk and the Home Depot, Walmart, and Nike. Her journey from corporate executive to conscious coach reflects her belief that true leadership begins when we pause to reconnect and rise to serve from a place of wholeness. Everyone, please help me welcome to the stage Miss Lynn Wong.
All right, Lynn, there she is.
My tongue has been twisted left and right, up and down, but amazing. Thank you so much for being here today, Lynn.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Lynn, we have looked forward to this show. I know that I have, especially since our conversation when we did content build. I've been looking forward to this show because I think you and I have a lot of the same kind of, and Ernie too as well. I don't mean to leave Ernie out, but we have.
No, it's just you two. I had to cut the conversation before the show. Like, although you guys,
I know. I'm sorry, Ernie, but we have the same kind of mindset. I think all three of us do. And I love the fact that what we're going to be sharing today and what we're going to be talking today, Lynn. But just to kind of get into the name of our show today is Rise to Rest: Awakening Your Power, Purpose, and Prosperity. And I'm like, this is amazing. I want to hear about how this happens. I really do. But before we really start getting into the meat of it, Lynn, take us a little bit back, maybe when you were growing up. And I know you were born in Singapore, correct? So kind of tell us a little bit about your journey as you were growing up as a child and moving forward, and how, where you've come today.
Yeah, well, thank you, Ernie. Thank you so much for thoughtfully reading that long bio. I really do sound like an overachiever, but hopefully that creates a lot of resonance with your listeners as well. I was born and raised and educated in Singapore, a little red dot on the maps that depict Southeast Asia. And
Mm,
growing up in a country that is born of international trade, I was always very conscious of the world. And so was everybody else that, I lived with. And growing up there afforded me a view of the world, both through TV and the ease and proximity of traveling, whether it was, if you're 2 hours in the car, you're probably on your way into the next country, Malaysia.
Mm.
And,
nice.
in less than 45 minutes in the air, you're, also in a different country, like probably in Indonesia or something. And so this sense of worldliness, I didn't realize would be the thread of my life. And so I graduated in Singapore, got my first job with an international company, and very quickly helped me appreciate how people around the world, different accents, different job titles, kind of come together to move stuff that's of importance, whether it's
Yeah.
teas or Christmas trees. And that's the benefit of working with a world-class shipping line and logistics company. And then through them, I got the opportunity to not only travel, but also take a job overseas, which is what brought me to the US. And what was supposed to be a 2-year expat assignment opened up doors to choose another international assignment or to stay on in the United States, which I did choose. And with the planned but unplanned, I would say it was sort of that it was with intention, with consciousness, not over planning, that then my career then opened up to bring love, lessons, and all sorts of fun stuff into my life that brought me overseas again, where I got to spend almost 5 years living and working in China pre-COVID.
Mm-hmm.
That was extraordinary. And it was time to come back into the US and continue, in meaningful work. And somewhere along the way, I lost track of my health. And as I look back, I realized there was no other way but to have gone through the path the way I did, because it is my path. And when I lost track of my health, or as my, business coach once said, well, if you don't take the breaks, the break will come take you.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
That is right.
And so I had the, I guess, awareness, or maybe it was surrender. I'm still reflecting on it, depending on the day, to surrender to the rest. And inside the rest, discovered so much more. And fast forward, here we are.
That's what's going to talk. That's what we're going to talk about today, right?
Yes.
That's amazing.
I know that today we're going to break it down to 3 categories, since we have 3 segments. And the first one is rest to rise. Lynn, you mentioned that obviously your health kind of caught on to you, and with all your endeavors, and I don't know how are you doing all these with your certifications and titles and all that stuff. What was that health issue that you experienced, if you don't mind us asking?
And I was going to ask if it was during COVID or pre-COVID or post-COVID.
Yeah.
If that had anything to do with it.
Yes, is the short answer. The slightly longer answer is I knew in the thread of my global corporate career in global supply chain, especially in shipping and sourcing operations, that I wouldn't retire in that work. I just knew it. I met that knowing in my late 20s, got a little worried because I saw that I didn't want anybody else's job. I had the best job on the team, had the best job in the company, and I was too young to retire.
Mm-hmm.
And actually, that is actually the beginning of my leadership practice, because then I realized that work was about being in service of others. And some of that thought thread followed me as I changed companies, but stayed in the global logistics and shipping industry. And finally, only allowed myself to graduate, after 2 decades. And in that context is important because there was a tug, there was a sort of an alignment opportunity about what do I want to get up and do more of every day that feeds me and serves others. So it's got to be regenerative, right? Mm-hmm. So that undercurrent was there. And when COVID happened for the world, I was one of those that made a seamless transition to working remote because I've always been on global teams and my family's around the world. So it's my normal to just work wherever there was Wi-Fi and a computer. During that season, I got to witness our shared humanity at a whole new level. Ernie and Steve, you all travel. So, you're always welcomed with people who are kind, break bread, share smiles, right? And mm-hmm. I got to see all of that with intensity during COVID and was just wondering again, okay, what is the work I need to align to? And it's no longer the job title or the company, because at that point, I was closing in on a decade in Fortune 1. And believe it or not, I loved it. But I was also falling out of love with the work. I was clear I loved the people, but the job title that I wanted or was looking for wasn't like to be found. Mm-hmm. That intersected with catching COVID. And while I checked all the good person boxes, I had my sanitizer, the mask, I stayed home, I vaccinated.
6 feet distance.
Yeah, everything. Right?
Everything.
Yeah. I caught COVID in the strangest possible way. It was so strange. I work from home. I was out on a walk. Somebody was on a run and came sort of around the curve, like ahead of me. And it was just strange because it was just my husband and I on the path. And this woman turns around and she says, sorry, I'm running that far away to give you all distance because I have COVID. And she ran off. Ooh. And it was really strange because it was just 3 of us in the park at that moment in history. But 2 days later, when I started to just feel really, really bad very quickly in a matter of hours, I was like, I think I have COVID. Mm. Anyway, that led to 10 days of quarantine in the main bedroom in our house. My husband lovingly took care of me, but there was 4 days of coughing out my lungs nonstop. And it was inside one of those 4 days that I asked myself, why am I still here? Or maybe I heard a voice, like, why am I still here? Take my life. Let someone else's grandma, grandpa live. Like, I am complete. I am grateful. And perhaps it was the subconscious invitation to explore the question that then several months later, when I was trying to figure out, do I have long COVID? Like, what's going on with my body? That one day I literally could not get out of bed. Like, it was like a weight blanket.
Yeah.
And I knew I didn't have a fever, but I just couldn't get out of bed. And it was sheer exhaustion. And there was, again, another sense of knowing that this was the beginning of the end. And I had a choice, right? I could fight to go back, or I could surrender to do more of what my body was guiding me to do to get well again.
Wow.
Can I ask a follow-up question on this, Lynn?
Please.
So throughout that journey of you hawking your lungs out, I had COVID twice as well in that time frame. And it's more so of, okay, well, I don't have time for this. I need to go serve others. But with you, it's like a forceful break that you needed to realize, yes, you are happy with what you're doing, but it's not something that you are meant to do. That's what it seems like. But what was going on in your mind when you're processing the difference now that you're resting and then the busy work that happens? Because your world did not stop.
No,
right?
a lot of fear, a lot of shame, mostly shame, really,
Mm.
and a lot of guilt, right? And there is guilt in gratitude, believe it or not.
Yeah.
You know, the sense of responsibility, right?
True.
The sense of who am I to go do what I want? What is there to do? Then there's the world is still in a place of stress. Like, how dare
Yeah.
I? So yeah, lots and lots of that. Um, but as I have come to realize, the body is so wise and
Mhm.
so patient.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You know, the mind likes to run around, but the
Yep.
body is always present.
Yes. Like,
That's right.
slow
That's
down,
exactly
sit
right.
down, stay put, breathe.
Yeah.
And if you don't listen,
Yeah.
it will shut down.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
you know, one of the things I do want to point out, though, is the fact for our listeners and also our viewers is to understand the difference between shame and guilt, because shame really claims an identity on you, where guilt is like, hey, I did something wrong, or I might do something wrong I shouldn't do. The shame is an identity. You attach onto that. It attaches onto you. All of a sudden, you
Yeah.
become that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the difference between the two. And out of the two, guilt can be a good thing, but yet shame is not ever good for you. It's never
That's
good for you.
That couldn't have said it better. You're exactly right. And so shame is to be released, and guilt can be
Yes.
turned into motivation.
Correct.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Wow. That's great. So you started getting well after about how long was it before you started feeling
Yeah.
better? And at that point, did you start to come to realize that, hey, things are going to have to be different for me to move forward?
Yeah,
Right?
absolutely. I had sort of planned and projected ahead, like most, responsible people, and I had also started dreaming of a sabbatical.
Mhm.
But to go travel, to go experience and all of that. And so I've been, watching my bank account and all of that stuff. It happened that I had to invest the sabbatical funds towards healing, very simply.
Mm.
Mhm.
And it was an unexpected, but very nourishing time of rest, where rest, I discovered, is not doing nothing. In fact, it's biologically impossible to do nothing. Your mind does need to rest so your
Mhm.
body can keep its doing with the
Mhm.
power of the heartbeat, the power of breath.
Yes.
And silence is actually really, really nourishing. So my sabbatical was about 6 months long, and the front side of it was just deep silence, quiet.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love that.
I love that. Well,
That had to be pretty peaceful for you, Lynn, at that moment.
Yeah, because to wrangle, is it guilt? Is it shame? Right. And
Mhm.
to then start to realize that you can put some distance between what is essentially a biodegradable spacesuit and what animates it, right? Whether
Yes.
you call it
Yes.
soul or spirit or energy,
Yeah.
yeah.
and to enjoy.
Oh, I love that.
I wanted to pry a little bit. So the front
Please,
part, the first part of this
Pry
journey, of this
away.
healing sabbatical journey, you said it's all silence. Was there ever, because we can all already say easily, oh, go on a sabbatical, you'll be fine, you'll find healing, whatever the case is, and people will be like, no, it doesn't work that way, because everyone is, a lot of people are afraid to have time for themselves. So
Mm.
did you have withdrawals in that first front part of your journey, Lynn?
I was so exhausted, so it really wasn't withdrawal. But the intention of being quiet, not talking to many people except my husband and my cats, getting on the yoga mat, studying about holistic health,
Mm-hmm.
that gave me a framework where then stillness and silence was just something to be savored and practiced.
I love that.
Mhm.
So quiet does not mean entirely quiet. It's more so of focusing on things that are more important than focusing on what they bring in your life.
Just allowing.
Just allowing. I
Yeah.
love that. It's very beautiful. But with that being said, we will take a quick break. We just went over the first segment, which we themed as rest to rise. When we return, we will go over a theme that we made, all three of us, as Rise to Love. We will be right back to the Leader's Edge.
Do you want to grow a team of transformational leaders who can take your organization to the next level? Do you want to attract, retain, and develop top talent? Do you want to leverage generational insights and improve your employees' communication, interpersonal, and productivity skills? If your answer is yes to any or all of these, you are in the right place. Steve Steele and Ernelita Dacumos, hosts of The Leader's Edge, are seasoned coaches and facilitators with Maxwell Leadership Team. They will leverage leadership content, tools, and resources to help turn your leaders into transformational leaders with influence and impact, so everyone wins. This highly effective program not only provides the knowledge and skills necessary to lead, coach, and communicate more effectively, but Steve and Ernie have resources available to impact others throughout your organization so that everyone can be led well. So contact us at pathtoleadersedge@gmail.com and let Steve and Ernie help grow your organization by creating an influence in which others want to engage.
Hey everyone, welcome back to The Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele with my co-host Ernie Dacumos and our special guest today, Lynn Wong. Wow, Lynn, that first segment was pretty powerful. We have this high-powered woman. She's making it in big time, and she's all over the world, and she's doing all these amazing things, and she is just knocking it out, working hard, making it happen every day, and then you get sick. And once you got sick, things began to change for you. You knew that there was a intuition in you, a voice in you, whatever you want to call it, that said, this is not everything right. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. There's a different purpose.
Yeah.
There's a different reason why. And then when she got sick, you began to take a rest, which kind of leads us where we had, rest to rise. And that rest, I think you began to find out what really your purpose was and where it was leading you. And so we're going to go into this next segment, and we're going to talk about rest to love. Rest to love. And I love this because I love this section because I think this is a real beautiful time that we can actually share a little bit about, being present, being in that moment, and really understanding what it is to have that power, that purpose, and that prosperity in your life with love. Tell us a little bit about that, Lynn.
Yeah. So, for all the listeners out there, and including myself, I still need that reminder, right? That rest, number one, is doing.
Yes.
It is biologically impossible. You would not be listening to this, show if you're not alive, and which means you're doing something. Mm-hmm. It's just that you have to acknowledge that your mind doesn't do everything. The mind is a powerful servant, but a terrible master. Mm-hmm. And so, resting is doing. And there are various forms of rest, and not all of it requires you to close your eyes for significant hours in the night. Yep. It is a breath. It is a conscious pause. It is 90 seconds to let all the biochemicals flush out of your body when you're in that fight or flight. Mm-hmm. And so rest is doing, and we all get to reframe what it means to us because we are individuals that are unique in our need for rest. Now, in rest, it is also my obviously lived experience and continued practice that when I rest, I am practicing receiving. Right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like we can't inhale endlessly. We have to exhale, which means we have to exchange, which means we have to receive. And when I had my opportunity, I had obviously sketched and hoped for a much more picture perfect type of rest, right? But the timing and all of that got moved forward for me. And in the quiet and in the stillness and the silence, that knowing that I've had for a long time, and I know we all have one, it just shows up at different times in our lives, different seasons. Mm-hmm. That knowing, I got to hear that knowing more. Right. Mm-hmm. And it's fun. It's kind of like having a bunch of gnomes in my head. Is it grateful today? Is it guilt today? Is it grumpy today? And is it greedy today? Like, who am I talking to? Right?
Yeah.
Left brain, right brain, whole brain, all of you. I want it all. And inside of that, there was a very special meeting that I had with not a whole lot of pre-planning. I met a former sponsor in my corporate work, and we just agreed to meet for smoothies, after yoga class one day. And she was also on sabbatical, and she asked me a very simple question, but it was the timing of the question that kind of caught me off guard. The question was, what are you going to do on the other side of rest? It came out. It came through me. It was the only thing I haven't done is answer the call to coach. I had parked that work, guiding people to whatever makes them come alive. I had parked that work for some arbitrary idea of retirement in my late 60s. And that was it. But in the moment that it came out, I also realized that I've had such a blessed, full life that the only thing I might regret not doing if I wasn't here tomorrow was to be in the work of coaching others to live their fullest potential, whatever that looks like for them. And she said, well, now I know why I just had to see you today. There was just something like I just had to see you today. The local university is looking. Would you please just connect with them, have a conversation with them, just hear them out. You don't have to say yes, just hear them out. Fast forward. We met, and before sabbatical wrapped, I had an invitation to join them, and I had made a parallel investment with a business mentor to start my private coaching practice. And come January after sabbatical, I had my private clients. I started with private clients, and I started with the university, and I haven't looked back.
Wow.
That's amazing.
It is amazing.
That resonates with me so much because sometimes it's just a question.
Yes.
My journey actually started with the question too from my coach. She asked me, if you have everything in this world, the freedom, the money, and the resources, what would you do with your life? And for some odd reason, whatever the first answer is what's your subconscious mind is going to give you, and it just blurted. That's powerful, and that's very powerful. So I'm curious. Obviously, this is an opportunity with me when I was given that message, when that said purpose came out. There's a purpose clarity, right? The first thing that came to me was fear. What was on yours?
I don't know that it was fear. It was more curiosity.
I love that.
There's definitely fear, but at that point in time, it was more curiosity. And what I realized that I had knowingly already tapped into, because through sabbatical, I had also invested in becoming a holistic health coach. And, the priority there was actually to learn how to be whole and healthy, and might as well get a certificate out of it in an area that I'm curious about. Right. So it was effort with ease, but not too much intentionality. Because when I started, I hadn't thought about committing to the work full time. And of course, as you go into the work, then shedding that identity that I had of over 2 decades in corporate became my work as I worked to be of service to my clients. Right. And discovering new muscles, right. And discovering the source of inspiration, which for me is love, helped navigate a lot of the unknowns and the creation of that fresh identity the larger identity of my service.
Wow.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's that summary of that season is really around rising for love, because love is regenerative, right? Love is what powers the zone of genius versus the zone of competence. It's pretty simple. It's the more energy you give it, the more energy it gives back to you.
Right. Right.
Like a healthy, sustainable kind.
Yeah.
And love isn't perfection, and love isn't just like, all good things, right?
Yeah.
Love is love also because there's an acknowledgement of fear.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Lynn, let me kind of just digress just a little bit here. And, basically in our human state, we have, basically there's two human states. Basically you have your human state of, being a powerful state in your life, where that's where love is, joy, all of those amazing things that we experience. And then we have a primal state, is where stress, anxiety, fear, and all those, we cannot occupy the same space at the same time. It's impossible. You cannot occupy that space. So you're either in a primal state or you're in a powerful state. Now, here's the question that I have for you. There are people out there listening that are experiencing the very same thing that you went through, that Ernie's gone through, that I've gone through, but they don't know how to get from primal state to a powerful state in their life. What does a person do to actually move themselves from being in that fear, anxiety, stress, to a point of joy and love and experiencing
Curiosity.
all those good, curiosity, all those amazing things that really help move them forward? Because as well as I do, stress and fear and anxiety, those don't move you forward. They hold you. They keep you stuck. But joy, love, and all those do move you forward. Because where energy flows, what is it? Where energy goes, energy flows. Is that how it's?
Where attention goes, energy flows.
Yeah,
That's
attention is the word that I'm like, wait.
Thank you. So, Lynn, how does one move from one primal state to a more powerful state in your life?
Yeah, I have been on a journey of trying to simplify all the things I get to intellectualize about. And it has come down to this, a very simple gesture. It's just your hand on your heart. Because the moment you place your hand on your heart, two things have happened. You have an intention, hand to heart. And two, you'll feel your power. Feel your heartbeat, right? So there are three things that are, there are more than three things in life that are free and equal. But those first three to always remember is your heartbeat and your breath, right? They're kind of synchronistic.
Yep.
Yeah.
The heartbeat is the first sort of medical sign of life. The breath is the first sort of mental or spiritual sign of life, right? So they're really synchronous. And will. We all have free will. Some people call it choice.
Yes.
Right. And if you can do that and just come back to that beat, you will start to appreciate that we are same and different. Right. And from that place is an invitation to love yourself more, so that you can get to a place of integrity and, most importantly, overflow, so you can give from your overflow.
Yeah. Lynn, is it also an opportunity? And I love that what you did there, putting your hand to your heart. Is it also an opportunity to catch yourself and be in the present?
100%. 100%. I'm
going back to our content.
I love that the brain can't hold two thoughts at the same time.
Right.
Yes.
After 20 years as, a logistician, I'm having fun with these aha moments that come, as you both know, as practice coaches, these ding,
Yep. Light bulb moments.
The brain can't hold two thoughts at one time. So you always have a choice. So hold a little more love. Right. And the practice of compassion and self-love. It is so important, because if you can't love yourself, you can't love others like the way you say you do because you're out of integrity.
Yeah.
You know, integrity isn't
Exactly.
just about stealing or greed or
Right.
ethics. Those are
Right.
important. But as coaches, the most powerful work we can do is actually take care of ourselves so we can be of service to others.
Yep.
So coaching is work that doesn't require Wi-Fi, doesn't require internet, doesn't require AI, but it's a human practice in service of another human's well-being. So love for self powers genius, excellence, innovation, possibilities. So we have to rest because it is step one in love for ourselves. And the bonus and the benefit of resting is we get to rise with love for love, and we will find community along the way.
Oh, you just touched on community. But let me go back.
Oh, Ern's going back.
So
Okay.
earlier we were talking about purpose. So when you said, I think one of the things that we talked about on the content build is when you have that presence, you will want to do something about it.
Yes.
Can we elaborate on that statement, please?
Yes. So we've established that power.
Yes.
We all have power. Your heartbeat, your breath. As long as you have those two, you are powered up. Everyone is. You don't need certifications. And once you have power, you want to do something with that power, right? And that is purpose. And that is simply stewardship of your energy, stewardship of your gifts. How do you steward your gifts? Meet them, know them.
Yes.
What do you care about? What do you value? Your values. What are you innately good at? Your strengths. You can take an assessment, or you can ask the people who care about you, or if you listen quietly enough, you know what your strengths are. So purpose is about stewarding your gifts of resources, of time, of strength, of value, and all of that is energy.
Wow. I want to say this so that our audience can actually understand this in it. And you touched on it a second ago, Lynn, and it's so powerful. But we are really, with the energy that we have as human beings, we are actually spiritual beings having a human experience. We're not human beings having a spiritual experience. It's the other way around. We're all spiritual beings, and we having a human experience. And what we do with that, the energy that we place in that, places that we go with that, is what makes a difference in people's lives.
Yes.
And so, which moves us into having that purpose, and that purpose of how we serve others moves us into more of a community. And I think we're going to talk about that in the next segment a little bit, about community and how we serve our communities and what we use, how we can make those things happen with where we're at in our particular life and on our journey. But I wanted to make sure that we understand that's really important. And this whole thing about, having a primal state and having a powerful state, that powerful state moves when you're in that love and that joy, and you're in those areas that you really care about, the people that you care about, the things that you're doing mostly in your life. We all end up sometime part of our life in a primal state where we have anxiety, where we have some fear, we have some stress. But there's one element, and I want to talk briefly about this, that we haven't touched on. But the opposite of fear is actually not love. It's actually faith. How does faith play a part in it, Lynn, when you're going through this process?
Yeah. Faith is simply knowing that you are part of something greater. It's simply asking the question of, where does my heartbeat come from? Where does my breath come from? And trusting it joyfully. Kind of surrendering. Does anybody ask where Wi-Fi comes from now? No. What is the internet? Nobody asks that, right? We're freaking out over AI.
Yeah.
But faith is that knowing that you are a reason, you are part of a bigger reason. And that energy of oneness connects us all. And if you have a religious practice that nourishes your faith, lean into it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Wow.
Powerful stuff.
It
Powerful
is.
stuff.
It's deep thinking. It's deep thinking, and I love this.
Yes, my brain hurts. Just kidding. Just kidding. With that, I would like to take a quick break. We talked about on the first segment, rest to rise. In this segment, we went over rise to love. When we return, we mentioned the word community twice. We will go over rise with community. We will be right back to the Leader's Edge.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Leader's Edge. I'm Steve Steele with my co-host Ernie Dacumos and our special guest Lynn Wong. I just love that commercial, Ernie. We're talking a little bit about that a little bit later after the show, or toward the end of the show. But I just love that commercial. Lynn, wow, that was a great segment. We just finished up with, and we got into some really deep stuff. But we're actually going to get in now to community a little bit. We're going to talk a little about community. We're going to talk about a little bit how that works and the love of community and a rise with community, right? Rise of individual collective people. So share with us how this kind of works within the segment that we're studying here.
Yeah. So thank you really for the invitation to talk to you about these three phases, right? Rest to rise, which is the individual, right? Before you can be of service to others, you must be of service to yourself. If not, you're not in integrity and you can't sustain. And when you can't sustain, you let people down, which is worse, right?
Yep.
So discovering your rest to rise is really important, because in your rest, you will discover space for love. And when you discover the work, which is also the creation of value, right? That's what work is, creation of value for yourself and others. When you discover the work that gives you love, so the more you do it, the more you're elevated, energized, and the more people that you love on are also energized, then it makes complete sense to come back into community, right? I say back into community because one of the things we don't do well naturally is rest to rise with ourselves. And communities are incredibly important because they are gatherings of choice. And it is so important that as we move through the seasons of our lives, that we are not only skilled at beginnings, that we're also skilled at completing. Just as we have moved through school, right? When we go into school, we know there's a start date and an end date, the amount of tuition and X number of exams, and then we graduate.
Yep.
Or we leave, right? Sometimes we take some parts of it, but there is a part where we complete and we never go back, right? We could benefit by taking that same mindset or that framework into the communities we exist in. These communities help us reframe, refresh, as well as revive, right? Steve, you mentioned earlier that important distinction between shame as an identity and guilt as a call to action, right? A motivation for action. I know that in my sabbatical, I intentionally and was also drawn into communities of strangers. I very quickly realized I had a choice as to how I would introduce myself.
Right.
I could lead with apologies and caveats, or I could simply introduce myself as being present. And on those days where I have extra energy is what I'm working towards. It's all in my head. I actually have ownership, you know?
It is.
And so community, and you can't see it, right? You can't unsee it. There's an I and a you in community. And so acknowledging which communities you currently are in, which communities you might be curious about, and which communities you might be complete with is really powerful. If not, all that work that you've done in Rest to Rise or Rise for Love will disappear because FOMO or competition over collaboration or comparison, which is the thief, right? So,
Yes.
I love that because I know that, and I'm going to follow up real quick, Ernie. I know that oftentimes when people are stuck in their life, you know, they have this silo mentality where they can't figure it out on their own. And the whole idea of community and collaboration are really where the solutions are found, because we don't have all the answers. Other people may lead us to answers. Other people may lead us to ideas that really help us form a thought that may take us to the solution that we're looking for. Right? I know that's happened in my life. Just recently, it's happened in my life. And so it is, that community is so important. So important that we understand that and love with community and love for community. You know,
and when you have your sense of stability, as in your rhythm of Rest to Rise, your Rise for Love, coming into community is very energizing, right? And it can also be depleting. And both are just senses of energy that then, because you know what's yours, you get a sense of what you want to help co-create, collaborate. Community then unlocks prosperity, because prosperity is simply a state of collective well-being.
Yes. And the word that's coming to mind right now with this process, Lynn, is authenticity.
Yes.
How is that? How can you incorporate that? Because the first phase that we talked about is Rest to Rise, then that's focusing on you, right? And then Rise to Love, more so of adding value to others, serving other people. And then now going back to your community, choosing, I love what you said, communities that you are complete with, communities that you want to collaborate with. So does that mean that with this process, with this phases, it also shows how you can show up authentically?
Very much so. Very much so. You know, there is such generosity in communities of strangers who are united by love, creating value, doing what they love. Right.
Yeah.
And the authenticity practice in my journey has been the remembering, the integration, and with a lot of levity, right? So, for instance, you know, my husband's probably on a walk somewhere out and about. I am still his wife, but I'm here on air with both of you. I am a yes and.
Yeah.
And I'm not the only one, so are y'all. And so in that Rest to Rise, you'll get the silence, you'll get to meet yourself, your whole self. You'll realize that you're not just a lifelong learner, you're actually a lifelong grower.
Yeah.
And then with a little bit of levity, a little bit of practice, and communities of others who are doing their version, you start to go like, oh, they're in this journey of discovering my authentic voice. I've got to meet guilt. I've got to meet grace. I've got to meet grumpy. I've got to meet greed, right? With a ton of gratitude. And the more I practice, the more I get to this place where I realize I'm not just authentic, I'm an original.
Yes.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Right. And
Yes.
if you have honored your rest and you're like, oh my goodness, there's an original Ernie, there's an original Steve, and we are rising together.
That's right. That is right. You said something, Lynn, a minute ago that I think is one of the biggest secrets in life. And I'm just going to tell you what I feel. You said generosity. Oftentimes we think of generosity as time. We're generous with our time, or we're generous with our money. But I want to tell you what I think the biggest secret of generosity is. It's giving of your energy.
Yes.
That's what I believe. I wholeheartedly believe that. That's the biggest secret in life, because every interaction and exchange you have is energy with
Yes.
any kind of person. And when you offer that, when you give that, I think, and my belief is that is probably the biggest secret of life that you can give them, is that exchange of your energy.
Yes.
And then in turn, they exchange the energy back. And when those things begin to go, you rise to a higher state of being. You rise to a more powerful state of being when you have those kind of conversations, when you're having that type of feeling in community, and you got all these people together, or you're speaking together, or you're sharing together. Raising that generosity of energy, I think, is the biggest secret of life. I really do.
Yes.
I think it's amazing.
Yes. That energy exchange between humans, no technology will replicate, period.
No, none.
And in the boardroom, you call that executive presence or leadership presence.
That's right. That's right.
And so it is simply energy exchange that is of value between humans that, thanks to marketing, shows up in different forms.
That's right.
Right? We have different names for different seasons of growing up. When we're young, you call it growing up. When you're older, you call it growing old. But your cells do what
That
they
is
do,
true.
right?
It's true.
So
That's
it's all
true.
marketing.
I love that. Yeah, that's
the
right.
levity, right?
Yeah.
So that path of resting to rise, rising for love, and love is in the work. How do you create value for yourself and others? And then rising in community, right? Which is that state of collective well-being, prosperity. Clues along the way include how much fun
Right.
you naturally tap into,
That's right.
Mhm.
people that you're around,
Yeah.
and then it's a clue to flow.
Yes.
Sustained
Absolutely.
fun is also flow. And when we can open up flow, fortune is inevitable.
Absolutely.
Yep.
And that is when you're present. The most powerful state is when you're in the present moment. And you can't be in the present moment if you're not in that flow, if you're not in that exchange of energy. You can't be in the present moment. Your energy, you're thinking in your head. You're not having an exchange with somebody. You're thinking in your head. And you know as well as I do, there isn't really the past, and the future's not here. So, it's that next present moment that counts. And that's where we're most powerful. I love that. I absolutely love that. That is awesome.
It's incredibly in this time in history as well to be open to these practices of resting to rise, rising for love, and to rise in community, because more and more of the traditional institutions that have served us well have to be retired. They no longer serve us. Yesterday, the penny was finally complete. It took 232 years.
Yeah.
And it's untenable, also known as not sustainable, because it costs 4 cents to create 1 cent.
That's right.
Yeah.
But this is where it's a human-made decision and human-made product, but it took 232 years. So it is tough. It really is tough. But it must be done, because then we get to take back that energy, alchemize it, make it healthy again, so we can go create our future together.
Yes.
Right.
I definitely agree.
Love it.
Lynn, this has been a very fruitful, powerful, and intuitive content that we've done today. I'm sure our listeners are curious and viewers are curious. What are you currently working on, and how can they connect with you? If I can still talk.
No, thank you for the invitation. And the timing of our reunion couldn't be more perfect because I am crafting some coherence around what I believe is the rise of the individual collective, which is same, and different, right? Celebrating that to really create flow in the supply chain of possibilities. We have everything we need. It's just in like strange places that we just need to kind of come in together. Because when you work in the supply chain, it's like the world's endless baton race. You know, we're all connected, not just in a network form, but there is a sequential partnership that we can all choose to engage in. So I'm working on clarifying that into my coaching and speaking offerings in 2026. So if anyone has a perspective they'd love to share, I would love to hear from them.
Oh, that's beautiful. That is beautiful. Thank you so much, Lynn, for that. I greatly appreciate it. But Ernie, I want to say something right before we close, Ernie and I wanted to share again with you this December, actually the 23rd, about 2 weeks away, we're flying to the Philippines for Christmas for the Natives, a beautiful tradition bringing joy to the Ada children of Iram.
Yes, that's right, partner. And what started with just a few gifts for 50 kids has grown into celebration for hundreds, 900 to be exact.
Yeah,
maybe more. We'll be there in person to deliver shoes, toys, and food packs, and most importantly, love and laughter.
Ernie, we're actually going. And if you'd like to support this mission, you can find the donation link in the show description to reach out directly to Ernelita at 707-759-8860. That's 707-759-8860.
Yes, and every act of kindness counts. Thank you in advance for making us or helping us make this Christmas for the Natives unforgettable.
Absolutely, Ernie. And Lynn, Ernie, next week on the Leader's Edge, Maxwell Leadership Team member Eber Mania joins us to talk about love languages. So tune in next Thursday. And always, Lynn, oh my gosh, what an amazing day. Thank you so much for everything. Thank you for the wonderful talks. We've got a lot more to talk about, Lynn, honestly. And after the show, we'll talk to you about that. But thank you so much for being here.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
You bet.
Yes. And just again, thank you, Lynn, for such an amazing content. And just a reminder, you can find the Leader's Edge on Apple Music, Spotify, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. If you find value in these conversations, which Steve and I found so much value, please subscribe or follow to stay connected or share it with someone you love. We wanted to say thank you to all of our listeners and friends because without you, the Leader's Edge would not be possible. We are grateful to have you here and so excited to connect with you next time. Bye for now, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye for now.